Okay, geometry. So I have two problems from Delta Math to show you. You do have a couple basic trapezoid problems, but then you have a couple parallelogram problems, which are really good. So here we go. It says two sides of a parallelogram are 8.5 and 3.8 feet. The measure of an angle between these sides is 107. Find the area of the parallelogram to the nearest tenth of a square foot. All right, so I'm just going to draw a generic parallelogram, right? So here's my parallelogram. I will make one side bigger than the other. Okay, so this is going to be my 8.5. This will be my 3.8. Now, there is going to be an acute angle and an obtuse angle, right? So the 107 is the obtuse angle. It's bigger than 90. So it's going to go right here. All right. Now, it's very important that you use the acute angle, though. So I want to use this angle right here. Well, how can I find that? Well, remember, in a parallelogram, because the opposite sides are parallel, these consecutive angles here, so this angle here at A and this angle here at B, they're going to be supplementary because consecutive angles are supplementary. So to find that angle, we're just going to do 180 minus 107, and that is 73 degrees. Now, if they give you the acute angle, then use it. All right. But if not, do this process. And now we have the sides, but we're missing the base. I'm going to let 8.5 be my base. So then this is the height that I want to find. So the question is, can I find that height? Well, look what I just did. I just made a right triangle. Look at that. I just made a right triangle. I know that this angle right here is 73. I can use trig to find the height. So again, this is me just trying to bring trig back into your lives for a second time. So if you remember from trig, so, ka, toa, right? O is for opposite, H is for hypotenuse, and then A is for adjacent. So from this 73 degrees, H would be the opposite. Here's my right angle. It points to the hypotenuse, which is 3.8. And this bottom side here is the adjacent. I don't care about the adjacent. I care about the H, which is the opposite, and the 3.8, which is the hypotenuse. So I throw out the ones with adjacent. That means this is going to be so. So stands for sine. Sine of your angle, sine of 73 degrees, equals the opposite H over the hypotenuse 3.8. To get h by itself, we have to undo dividing by 3.8. And to do that, you multiply by 3.8. And this is what's going to go into my graphing calculator. 3.8 sine of 73. Make sure you are in degree mode. I'm going to do this here so I can keep the picture. 3.8 sine of 73. Do not round right away. I'm going to let this carry out to a pretty far number. 3.633958. Okay, again, I don't want to round early. And now I'm going to use 8.5, which is my base, and 3.633958, which is my height. And actually, what you can just do is just take this number and multiply it by 8.5. So to find my area, I'm going to take the base times the height. So my area is 8.5 times this number. And when I do that, I get 30.88. It says round to the nearest tenth. This 8 makes that 8 become a 9. 30.9, and it would be feet squared. Let's try it. I'm nervous. 30.9 feet squared. Is that my answer? Oh, yeah. Loving it. Okay. All right, we'll do one more. All right, so let's take a look at this problem now. So this time it says the area of a parallelogram is 5, and the lengths of its sides are 4 and 3.2. Determine to the nearest tenth of a degree the measure of the obtuse angle of the parallelogram. Okay, so again, I'll just draw my generic parallelogram right here. Here's the longer side. Here's the shorter side. Okay, so the length of the sides are 4 and 3.2, so this must be my 4. That's my 3.2. They want the measure of the obtuse angle. So this is the question. Now, before we find the obtuse angle, we are still going to work with the acute angle. If they wanted the acute angle, we would find it directly. But to find the obtuse angle, we're going to first find the acute angle and then find the obtuse angle. And we're going to do the very same thing we did in the last problem. We're going to draw down this height, meaning that 4 is going to be my base. Well, they gave you the area. The area is 5. You can find the height right now. Area equals base times height. 5 equals 4 times my height. Divide by 4, divide by 4. 5 divided by 4 is a nice even 1.25. And that's your height. And now, how are we going to find an angle measure? Well, we can still use trigonometry, but if you remember, when you find angle measures, you have to use inverse trig. This is a right triangle. Let's draw it right down here. Made it a little bit bigger. This is my x degrees. This is 3.2, which is one of the sides of the parallelogram, and this height is 1.25. I can find this angle by using inverse trig. So, TOA. Same thing, same setup. Label your sides. If this is the angle I want to find, 1.25 is my opposite. The right angle points the hypotenuse of 3.2, and this bottom side is my adjacent, which I don't care about because there's no numbers. So again, cross off cross off TOA. Sine is what we're going to use. But instead of using the traditional sine, we're going to use inverse sine. So to find x, it's going to be the inverse sine with that little -1 as the exponent. Again, it's just notation of the opposite side, 1.25, over the hypotenuse of 3.2. And again, I don't want to leave this picture, so I'm going to type this in my handheld calculator. So inverse sine, make sure you're in degrees, of 1.25 divided by 3.2. I got an angle measure of, and it says in there is tenths. I'm going to leave this out to a couple, 22.993. Okay, that's what I got. That is the acute angle. Remember, we talked about that these two angles, A and B, are going to be supplementary. So to find the obtuse angle, I'm going to take 180 minus 22.993. So 180 minus 22.993, I get 157.00. Round to the nearest tenth. This 0 keeps that 0 the same. So 157.0 degrees. And that's what I believe this obtuse angle is. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, nice work. Okay. All right, so best of luck on these problems. If you have any questions, let me know. There are some difficult and there are some easier. So again, just ask for help if you need it. All right, cool. All right, thanks for watching.